Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and the fallout from the Unity runtime fiasco continues. We have another key person leaving Unity. If you don't have any idea what I'm talking about, well, could you please tell me which rock you are under, because it seems like a very comfortable place to be, and I'd love to join you. But going back in time, September the 12th, Unity basically shot itself in the foot. Like, brutally. It was insane what they did. And basically, they announced a runtime fee. At the time, it was going to be retroactive on every game ever made with Unity ever. And basically, every time anyone installed the game, once you made a certain income threshold, you would have to pay Unity a royalty. Yes, this isn't even applied to shipped titles already. It was probably one of the worst and most stupid overreaches in the history of game development. And to say that there was some fallout from it, well, that would be a bit of an understatement. So, developers reacted. Developers were not happy. Basically, every single forward-facing Unity developer seems to have made some kind of a statement. Several people have left the engine completely. It hurt them, for sure. There were a lot of people that left the ecosystem. As you may tell, some people helped them along the way. But anyways, it was a bad scenario, and it did get worse and worse and worse. And quite frankly, it resulted in the CEO, John Riccitiello, getting let go. Now, he was never anybody's favorite when it comes to the world of YouTube. I don't think I've ever seen a positive comment about JR. But yeah, he was let go. But one thing I want you to notice, just kind of put this in the back of your head for later on this video. So even came from John Riccitiello, but instead Mark Whitten, head of Unity Create. So that's the backlash of the whole runtime fee scenario in general. Yeah, it was Mark Whitten that faced the angry crowd, not John Riccitiello. Riccitiello, he just out of there. I'm gone. Give me my golden parachute. I am out of here. And another good thing happened after the fact, at least I think in a lot of opinions. ironSource, this was the, some people say malware, other people more generously would say the mobile analytics and ads company. Well, they merged a couple of years after the IPO of Unity. It was not a good time for either of them, and a lot of people think that the ironSource influences on Unity was what led us to where we are today. Well, the majority, or I believe all of the people on the board of directors for Unity from ironSource are now gone. So they're all out of Unity as well. So we had some massive changes here. CEO's gone, ironSource execs are gone. He was also, the CEO was also the head of the board, and they hired a new CEO. So Jim Whitehurst was hired as an intern, and then just earlier in this month here, earlier in May, they hired a new CEO. So this is Bromberg. It was Matthew Bromberg. He was the head of Zynga, chief operating officer, I should say, of Zynga in the past. He is now the new head of Unity. And Jim Whitehurst is he was the interim CEO, and I actually quite liked him. He moved up to the board. So in the meantime, there was a bunch of refocusing that came on with Unity. They sold off they got rid of Weta Digital. They got rid of Ziva Dynamics by selling it off. They moved out of Digital Twin, and they focused more on game development, which I think is what people definitely wanted to see. However, we're not done. Like I said earlier on, Mark Whitten, this is the guy who was in charge of basically Unity as a game development tool, the head of the Unity Create division. Well, Mark Whitten, he's a quittin'. So yeah, that's what happened today, or technically yesterday it was announced in the SEC filing. Now, the reason why a lot of you are probably aware of the name Mark Whitten, unless you go back in time, Mark Whitten was actually the head of Xbox before Phil Spencer. Before Phil at Xbox, that was where Mark Whitten worked, and he's been the head of Unity Create for several years now. So basically, he is the guy that is in charge of Unity as a development tool. So all the other divisions are separate, but the development side of things, he is there. He's the one that kind of was front-facing on this whole runtime fee. Now, interestingly enough, I actually had a call with Mark Whitten like 2 days before the runtime fee, where they were discussing it, running past like Unity insiders, etc. And I told him straight out, just don't do this, and have you talk to your lawyer, because this sounds illegal. And I am not alone in the voices that said that this runtime fee was a very, very, very bad idea. And I always kind of got the impression that he kind of knew it and was being put in this situation, but you never know. He was the head of that actual particular division, and he is the one who did the open letter to the community. Again, I think it's kind of a cop-out that JR wasn't the person who did this, but that's, again, leadership for you. So Mark Whitten was the face of the Unity runtime, and now he's gone. So he's not being forced out. He's actually resigning, and he's getting a decent amount of money for it. So Game Developer Magazine has the following article. Mark Whitten is stepping down on June 1st, 2024, although he's going to be hanging around for a bit. So as you can see, he's going to stay until December 31st, 2024 to assist with the transition of his responsibilities. So not too long ago, responsibilities included persuading developers to accept the introduction of a new runtime fee policy, which ultimately went down like a lead balloon. So again, we already covered a whole lot. Everything here, the summarized stuff, we talked about all of that, but there is some upside. He's getting some money out of this. So we do have the SEC filings here, more or less, that Mark Whitten will resign as the company's chief product and technology officer, Create. So again, Create is the division in which the Unity tools and engine are actually held underneath. Whitten will assist with the transition of his responsibilities and has agreed to continue serving as an employee until he departs the company at the end of 2024. So in connection to this, entered a resignation transition agreement. So this is all had to be filed because they're a public company and he's a named officer at this point in time. Pursuant to which, transition date until resignation day, Whitten will serve as a strategic advisor to Mr. Whitten. Okay, sorry, two sentences. We'll continue to serve as a strategic advisor. We will continue to receive his base salary and his previously granted equity awards, basically means stock options. We'll continue to invest during this transition period. Agreement also provides for a customary release of claims by Mr. Whitten, entitled to the following benefits upon resignation date. It's weird having all of this stuff aired in public, like when you're a named officer, but I think he's got enough money that he can get over people knowing how much money he's making. So he's getting a lump sum cash payment in the amount of $200,000. He's getting a lump sum cash payment in the amount of $400,000, equal to 100% of the target bonuses for 2024 under the cash incentive bonus plan, and a lump sum cash payment in the amount of $200,000 less applicable state, blah, 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 taxes, for supporting the leadership transition. So this one is basically just, hey, here's $200,000 for sticking around. This one is vested options, so this is basically bonuses that he would have made this year that he's getting paid out on, and this is his salary for the remaining time as a lump sum. So yeah, that's the here, and then finally a lump sum cash payment in the amount of approximately $14,801, which is equivalent to 6 months payment for healthcare continuation cost. By the way, the fact that half a year of healthcare costs is $15,000 is absolutely insane, but that is definitely a different conversation for a much different forum. So that is the announcement there. So he is going to be resigning. He's going to be sticking around in a kind of consulting role in the meantime. By the way, if you want to get into like the actual details of it, there's even more here. I'm not going to go through all of this, but you've got other things here, like he can work for other companies if he wants. If he bails out early, he loses a bunch of these bonuses. And then you've got some other options in here. So you've got things like a non-disparagement clause. It's a mutual non-disparagement clause, so he can't insult the company, and this company can't insult him. Now, what's interesting is that it's signed by Jim Whitehurst as CEO, who is no longer CEO. He's on the board now, but there is now a new CEO in that place. So it's interesting that the previous CEO was the one that signed this, because again, that happened the beginning of this month. So this probably happened quite a while ago. And I think that is kind of the end of it, ladies and gentlemen. We're kind of all of the accountable people. Again, there's still people continuing over on the board, but the board has changed up quite a bit now. Jim is now on the board. John is out. John is out as CEO. John is out as chairman of the board. Mark Whitten is out as head of Create. The people from Iron Source are all gone. So people say, I'll never trust them again unless they get rid of all the bad actors. And again, I'm not saying that Mark Whitten was a bad actor. I have no idea how involved he actually was in the final decision. But pretty much everybody that had any accountability to this is seemingly gone now. So I'm curious, what do you think? So that is the news, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Whitten, he's a quittin'. And I just love that pun. So that's it. I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.